Hello and welcome. In today's video, we're going to be talking about email. We're going to start with what it is as a concept and then go from there in terms of how you use it and how to make one if you don't have one, and just really make sure that you get all of the basics of what an email is and how to appropriately use your email. So, first things first, let's just talk about what electronic mail or email really is. It is, as it suggests, sending messages electronically, or mail, which is why it's referred to as such. And it has worked in different ways in the past. However, most email services are going to hold things in a cloud. And all that really means is that these companies that have email services such as Gmail, Yahoo, Outlook, AOL, and so forth, they all have a cloud or servers set up in big warehouses just full of these servers to hold storage. And that is where all of everyone's emails are actually existing. That's where those files physically exist. But you access email through your email address and your password. And this can be done from any device that has the capability to browse the internet or has a built-in mail app. So most cell phones, tablets, computers, and a lot of other smart devices may be able to send and receive emails. So even though these devices can send and receive emails, the emails themselves still exist on the server or in the cloud for the company that is hosting your email address. Now that we have that covered, let's go ahead and get into an example of making an email address, how to get one, so that we can see exactly what they look like. So I'm just going to show you a few different examples of websites that allow you to create an email address, such as AOL, Yahoo. You might have already seen Google, and that's going to be our example, so I'll go over that in a moment. So these are all different companies that offer email services, so you can have an address with them, and those are the servers that your emails will actually live on. Now we are going to go over creating an email account, and we are going to use Google's email service known as Gmail for our example, but they will all share similarities when creating an account, regardless of what service you are creating the account with. So it's going to ask us for some information first. And I'm going to go ahead and do that and then say we're going to call our username, or our eventual email address is going to be sdmemailvideo@gmail.com. So I wrote capitalization in the username / Gmail address, but that doesn't actually matter. You can have uppercase or lowercase, and that is not going to make a difference when you're making the username. It was just for my own visual aid. So now I'm going to go ahead and create a password. And hopefully they match. Great. And my name was not taken, so I am able to move forward with that email. And with that said, why don't I actually go back and show you what it would be like if it was taken. So if I wanted to use Thatcher as my email address, as soon as I try and move on to the next step to enter my password, it says that it's taken. And then it gives me some other options. I did not know that ThatcherAckerman@gmail.com was not taken, so I'm going to go ahead and take that, because it is worthwhile for me to have that address. You never know when you might want to have a new email address or have an email address that is for something specific. So for me to have one that is just my name @gmail.com, that is quite convenient. So as you can see, when I had a name that was already taken, it suggested some other names that I could use, or I could have entered something else, and as long as it was available, it would let me go on to the next step. Alright, so I'm also going to put my phone number in here. I'm going to blur it for you guys, as well as my recovery address. And I'll let you know my birthday. I've got nothing to hide there. Okay. But if you're curious why they need to have this information, you can always click on why we ask for this information. There should be something akin to that when you're doing these same steps on any of the other services. Remember, these are just an example of a few. There's countless email providers. Okay, so now I have to verify my phone number, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. This is convenient because now I can recover my account as long as I have access to my cell phone. And that is something that is really important. So this step allows me to use my cell phone to access my Gmail and or Google account, because this is technically me making a new Google account as well. So having that tied to my cell phone, which is a smartphone, allows them to send notifications to the phone that will allow me to prove that I am who I am when I'm trying to access my account. And these are all necessary steps for security, because, like I mentioned earlier, these emails don't exist on your devices. They exist on servers as encrypted data. And your only way to access that is by logging in, and you have to verify that you are indeed who you say you are. So the more information that your account has in terms of a phone number attached to it, a recovery email address. You can have multiple recovery email addresses. If there are security questions they ask you, make sure you answer those accurately. You pick ones that you'll remember, as well as to write them down or save them in a document and put that in maybe a locked folder or something like that, or a locked note on your phone. And I'm really just stressing this because it makes your account much easier to be secure, safe, and accessible if you forget your password, which is something we deal with a whole lot. Okay, so I will skip this for now. I will pretend to have read all of this and agree to it. You should definitely take time to read the terms of any sort of online service you're going to sign up with. I know they're tedious, but potentially worthwhile to actually read through them so you know what you're signing up for. And almost all services beyond emails, any sort of account you might create will have this feature. Okay, great. So now I have a new email address as well as a new Google Chrome account, which I can use as a profile on my computer. If you want to know a bit more about that, go ahead and make a one-on-one appointment and we can go over that and anything else that you'd like. That applies for anything that you hear me mention, anything that you have as a question that comes up when you're watching the video, anything like that. We are always happy to sit down and go over something or teach something that you are interested in learning or being familiar with. Alright, so now that I have my email address, I can go to my inbox in the browser. So we're still in Google Chrome, even though it opened up a new window, and I'm logged in to the email that we just created. And if I hit Gmail right here, or if I went to Gmail here, there's a few other ways I can get to my Gmail inbox. So this will probably look the same for pretty much everyone, but because it knows that it's attached to my account, it's showing me my inbox. And once again, for this email, the only one I have, exists on a server that's owned by Google. Who knows where exactly that is, but it is not on my computer or any of my other devices. But I could use my smartphone or any other device that has internet access, and I can go to gmail.com and log in there and see the same thing. Great. So just a little bit about what we have going on in this inbox in Gmail and what will be similar across the board in any email service. On the left here, we have locations that are pre-created, and some of them serve a specific purpose. Other ones are just ways to label something. It gives us some default categories, which are over here. Spam, things that are recognized as emails that are coming from nefarious websites, or just something that is being sent to so many emails on this server that it knows that it can't possibly be something that's genuine. It's just junk mail, the type of mail that you throw in the trash right away when you get it, which is generally what the spam folder does. It filters out things that it thinks are junk mail. And sometimes an email that is legitimate may end up in there. However, more often than not, you will probably have emails in your inbox that you'll want to put into spam. And one way you can do that is to go ahead and move that to spam. I won't do that, and that's something we could go over more in depth. But the idea is that these all have predetermined purposes, or are locations for you to organize your emails as you see fit. You are also able to create new categories, new labels, and sort them by whatever method you deem fit. Okay. Over here is where we will see the location that we have selected. So right now we're looking at sent messages. We don't have any because I haven't sent any messages. If we go back to inbox, we will see this one email that I got from Google. So the fact that this is split into 3 already is a little bit different than other email services, but it's also something that you can customize, as it states here, customize your inbox. If I were to follow that, it would show me all of the customization options for how I would have my inbox functioning and the layout of it. And like I said, there is apps, or there are apps on smartphones that are able to access email as well, and this is a link to explain just how to get such a Gmail app and put it on your phone, and then to log into that. That brings me to what I mentioned earlier, which is using an application built for reading mail as the location you go to, or the place you go to on your device to see your email. In the case with Windows computers, there's a built-in application called Mail. That's often exactly how it works on any other device, if there is a built-in application for Mail. You can also download applications for Mail on most devices as well. Even if there already is one, there are an abundance of them on app stores. So you can definitely find one that fits your style or preference when it comes to functionality and what the inbox looks like, etc. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and click on the Mail app, which brings up a new window, which is that app. And I'm going to go ahead and pin that to my taskbar, so now it will stay down there. It is suggesting an email account that it already knows is mine, because it is my Google account that exists as my Microsoft account, which means that my Microsoft computer running Microsoft Windows 11 knows that that email is mine. So it's suggesting, do you want to add this to the Mail app? I'm going to go ahead and not do that and choose a different Google account. And we can go ahead and sign in with the account I made earlier. So this is a good opportunity to mention a little side note. When you are logging into an email, there might be other options, like it says here, email or phone, for me to sign in. So because I tied my phone number to it, that's also another way for me to access my new email address. Also, since it knows I'm signing into Google, I don't necessarily need to put @Gmail. That will definitely be the case if you are on the website in an internet browser and trying to log in to your email. You will not need the @Yahoo, @AOL, etc. But if you are trying to do that elsewhere, like through an app, then you definitely would want to add the @Gmail. In this circumstance, it's hard to say exactly if it is, in the app or not. In this case, just because it seems like we're sort of still connected to the app, I'm going to add @Gmail anyways, even though since we're signing in with Google, and this is probably using the web browser, it shouldn't really matter. Okay, and so because it wants to confirm that I am a human actually trying to access this account, it had me do a little test there that is similar to the tests where you choose all the bicycles in a certain number of squares, and then if you choose all the right things, you can advance to the next step. That is just another layer of security. Annoying as it may be, it is important for our continued progress into a digital era. Oops. So I'm going to blur that. Okay. And now I'm going to say next and sign in. I will allow Google to have access to my calendar and the other things that it wanted access to. And this is where I can change the display of the name that my messages will be coming from. It doesn't change the address, it just means that the message will come through from Thatcher Ackerman, and it won't just say Thatcher Ackerman @Gmail. It will say it the way that I just created it. And we can create a new mail here as an example of that. So let's go ahead and do that. Say test. And hopefully this still works even though I'm sending it to myself. See, and it does. So, just like this says Google, and this says Google Community Team, those are not the actual email addresses. If we click on them, we can see that the email address is Google Community Team -no reply @google.com. That's the email address. However, the display name for the address is Google Community Team. So that's what I just created just there. As you can see, this is a similar layout to Gmail that we have behind here still. We have the locations on the left and Similarly, there are some of the same types of locations, trash, spam, important. We have sent, inbox, drafts, and here we have showing whatever location we have selected. So now back to the inbox, and the inbox appears here. This is also customizable, and you can change the layout and functionality of how the app works and lets you view your emails to a pretty good extent. And one way to do that would be to go to personalization under settings. Alright, so one of the main differences about using email through an app is that it can hold multiple accounts. So I could go ahead, and click accounts, and then add another account so that I could see multiple email accounts all in one location at the same time. Whereas if I were to do it here, I would need to go to another email address, or I could sign into another Google or another email of any kind, but I would need to do that in a different location. I can't have them all in the same location unless I'm using a mail application. These function the same way on smartphones or anywhere else that you're using a mail application. It will most likely allow you to add multiple accounts and accounts from any email service. But some email services, such as AOL, will make you use an app-specific password if you are going to use an app to view your AOL emails. And what that means is that even though I may have an AOL account that has a username and password, so we can sort of just pretend that that is how I would log in. Boom, I do that, and then I'm in my inbox, except it would be for AOL instead of Gmail. But this fake password that I just made, if I went to add an account here, AOL is not an option, so I would choose other. And if I were to try that, I would not be able to use this password here because of how AOL operates. There are other email services that may function like this too. So if you are having trouble connecting your email account to an app, it could be that your email service requires an app-specific password in that situation. So you would go to settings within your account and generate an app-specific password, and you enter that that password into whatever app you're trying to add your account to, and that password exists just for that app and cannot be used for other apps, and it has no other purpose. Right. So there is plenty more to go over. However, this is just an introduction into emails. So we may do another video continuing from here and going over some more specific things. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you all next time.